I'm good. I'm good. I mean, if anybody ever follows me on social media, they know how I really am doing. Um, I think it's like I'm like going through like this weird transitional part of my life where like I'm unemployed, like affected by the mass tech layoffs. So I kind of have this opportunity now. And like obviously I was not seeing it like this in the beginning, right? Like I found out I got laid off 2 days before I was going to PAX East. So, like, I was so ready to go. Like, I had taken a vacation day, literally, like, my vacation had started on that Wednesday, and it was Tuesday, and I was like, "All right, day before I leave, I'm gonna get everything that I need to get done. I'm gonna buy a
Yeah.
couple of new things for the desk." Like, it's PAX East is, like, very professional, right? So we're sitting at a caster desk. We have, like, it's top tier, like, real esports production. So I was like, all right, I'll like go out, get like a couple more like staple pieces, like for my outfits, look really good. And then, I had that morning I woke up and I was like, I'll just get like a little bit of a late start to work. It's totally fine. The company that I worked for was based out of California. So
Yeah.
I was like, oh my God, it's like 9 a.m. there. My first meeting isn't until 1:45 my time. Like I'm
Yeah.
good. So I go, I get a haircut. I'm like feeling good. I bought a couple of clothes in the morning. I'm like, all right, like,
Feeling
and then
yourself,
I'll
getting
get to
dolled up and
work
everything,
as
right?
soon as right. So I'm like, all right, now as soon as I get home, I'll get right to work. Like, I'm a pretty good worker as long as I have some time to wake up in the morning. I
Yeah.
think that's also why, like, I'm very hesitant to, like, ever go back into an office because if I could just roll out of bed and do my job, I will absolutely do it. But, like, travel time, prep time, it's like, ugh, like, I don't
Yeah.
want to dress up to go into the office. I just want to do my work and chill. So, I got home, ready to go, feeling great, just got my bangs trimmed. I was feeling on top of the world, got the message, hey,
Oh
we're gonna have a
no.
meeting at 1:45, you and me, we're gonna talk about your future. And because I worked in the games industry,
Yeah.
uh we worked out of Discord, and I went into my Discord to just like start my day because I was like, all right, like a
Mm-hmm.
little weird. And then I noticed that all of my admin access was gone. And I was like, oh no. And looking back, I really found out before I found out that I was getting laid off. I found out via Discord, which is like
Oof.
so gamer. It's so
That's
gamer, but it's so
so
funny.
that's
But
so
I
bad.
yeah, it's hard, right? Because honestly, living the dream job and then like I
Yeah.
went to PAX, I had a great time at PAX, but like the moment I stepped back in Philly, I was like, "Oh my God, I don't have a job
Oh
anymore." Like
no.
that's
That's so
crazy.
terrible. I
But like
know.
I said, like I have this like beautiful opportunity to really kind of like recreate whoever the fuck I want to be, right?
Yeah.
Like and that's the only way that I can see this positively. Like do I stay in Philly? Do I continue to just live here? Do I move back closer to home? Like do
Mm-hmm.
I get another job like across the country? Do I get a job like still in games? Obviously that's what I want, but
Yeah.
like this time I'm like very grateful for because I still have a support net that's like amazing and like I'm not going to say my unemployment's too bad, you know what I mean? It's very livable per week. So I've had a lot of free time to just kind of like step back and be like, okay,
Be pretty
who do
inward.
I want to be? Right. And that's really coming out for me in Pokemon. Like
Yeah.
I like lived and breathed Smash for 9 years of my life. Like a lot of
Ooh.
people, may not have heard of me until commentary, but like
Mm-hmm.
I did everything in the Smash community before like commentary popped off for me. So,
Yeah.
it's a weird time in my life, but that's kind of like how it goes, I guess.
You know, it always comes to uh like this thing that I've realized every step along the way, like whatever you're into,
Mhm.
it's kind of just like that baseline to kind of figure out your initial identity. And then that's as you kind of live in this, like whatever it happens to be you're really into, that's when
Mhm.
you kind of really truly figuring out who you are inside, aside from your basic
Right.
interest. That's why they say, like, oh, you can't spend all of your life just being entirely focused on this one thing, because once it all goes away, who knows what you actually have left, right? Those people who make the one singular thing their entire personality don't really got much left
Right.
to show for it if it all goes away.
Right.
And like, especially if you invest so much time into like doing the one thing that doesn't garner any kind of like positive results for yourself, or like
Right.
any kind of positive affirmation, if that takes
Mhm.
over and then it's gone, you are left like a completely broken human being who doesn't know how to look inward.
Yeah. And I think it's a really good point that you're bringing that up, because I think right now Smash is like not in a good spot. I don't
No.
think you could ask one person in the community and be like, "Is Smash in a good spot?" And people would say, "Yes, absolutely." I think now is like a really important time to not only like support your locals, right? And like uh do
Certainly.
all of the things that you can do on like the ground level, but also like an amazing time to start like looking into other things that you vibe with. Like I said, like Pokemon came into my life like right when I was really, and I still think I am kind of burnt out of Smash. I think once again, I've been doing it for too long, and like I've been on the commentary grind now for like 2 years, and that kind of like
Mm.
took the. Can I curse?
Let's see, how long have been gone? Technically, we've been on for long enough. Yes.
The commentary grind kicked my ass. We'll keep it tame for now. So it was just kind of like it was like okay, going to event to event to event to event every single day while also working is like it's abysmal and it's hard.
Yeah.
And like now it's obviously support like your locals, but not a bad time to start checking out other things that you
Oh
kind
yeah,
of like to
certainly.
do. So that's kind of like how I see it. It's Smash will come back. It definitely will be, but I think right now, if you like another game, why not try it out?
True. True, true. There's always PM. um, um, you know what? Hold on real quick. Hey everybody, anybody that's watching, how's it going? We kind of got really into it really fast. Partially because our guest here has a hard out time, and I'd rather get into it and kind of like dive deep into it. Everyone who would be watching this and watching the replay of this and watching any clips from this already really knows who you are. But for some reason you don't know, hi, introduce yourself to everybody.
Oh, hi. I'm Lyric. I do a lot of things. Probably known me either from Twitter or from Super Smash Brothers commentary. Probably the first one more than the second one, but I'd like to think I'm a pretty okay caster. And yeah, that's pretty much me for now.
At least for now.
At least for
um,
now.
so I was gonna ask this a little bit later on, but like I kind of want to know what do you feel like is your general story? And I'm not just talking about like, oh, I've been in the Smash community for 9 years, which like that's a big chunk of it, obviously. But like, where
Large part of my
does
life.
where does where would you say the story of Lyric starts? Up until like probably about really getting into Smash, and then your journey afterwards, and then eventually your journey into commentary.
Sure. This is a good question. So I think like the rest of us as kids, right? I think there's a very negative connotation when it comes to Smash a lot of the times of like Smash community is just full of high school weirdos that came together for Smash Brothers. And I hate to be like that was totally me, but that was totally me.
Yeah.
Like I wasn't too popular like growing up. Like I was pretty awkward and like very loud and kind of like very socially unaware at times, just to kind of like give myself like the honesty, right? So
Mm-hmm.
I didn't really like have a lot of friends. I think for me, video games were just like always like in my life, right? So like I always say like my first video game was definitely my Tetris on my mom's phone and then Pokemon Yellow.
Yeah.
Um and then every birthday, every holiday was a game system. Oh, Game Boy Advance, Game Boy SP, going up to the Cube, GameCube, Wii, all of that stuff. Like what do you got? Show me what you got. Oh, hell yeah, bro. The classic.
The original SP right
I
here.
love that shit.
Same one. And I
Oh my
still
God.
got, I don't know
What
if
do you got in
it'll
there?
show up on camera, but I got I got Yu-Gi-Oh
Oh.
up in there.
Mm-hmm. It's a good shit. So yeah, like everything just was video games for me. Um, like I said, I was a little bit awkward as a kid, like very like socially like unaware. So once again, not a lot of friends, but
Mhm.
I did make best friends with my high school bully, fun fact. And I'm serious, like
That's fun.
it's
That's
really
fun to hear.
he was picking on me in study hall in ninth
Yeah.
grade. And this one girl like turned around, her name is Nicole. I'll never forget this. And she was like, "Why do you keep picking on her? She's not doing anything to you." And he's literally, if you ask him, he says, "Yeah, I kind of just stopped after that." He's like, "I don't know why I was like picking on you, but I just was because you were annoying and weird." And I was like, "Okay."
What a
And then
jerk.
after that, like we became best friends. Like, um, we did everything together. We went to the mall and like as 15-year-olds, I mean, I was an emo kid, shocker. You know, I hung out at my mall. You know, I was a mall kid, went into Hot Topics, studded belts and all that shit. Like I was the emo girl of my like high school class and I was okay with that.
Yeah.
But we used to sit in GameStop on the floor for
Nice.
hours on end talking to the GameStop associates, like the people that worked there. And one of the
Yeah.
guys' names was Kevin. Like Kevin was lit. We loved hanging out with Kevin, and like that's what we did all the time. And then my best friend Ben, his name is Ben. He got me and our other best friend Jack. And we were kind of like the trio. Like we
Mhm.
did everything together. Like once Ben and Jack got a car, forget it. And now I
GG's.
was right. Like I was also the baby of the friend group because my birthday's in October and everybody else's birthday is like in the beginning of the year. So like I wasn't getting my license and all that stuff, but we did everything together.
Mhm.
And one day, I don't know when exactly he found it, but Ben found the Smash Doc.
Mm.
And he was sold on it. And he was just like, "Oh my God." And he would tell us everything. Now, granted, once again, I had no fucking clue what the hell he was talking about, right? Like, I
Yeah.
was like husband, wife, what the fuck are you talking about, bro? But like, whatever. But we were the trio. We did everything together.
Mhm.
So it was 2014,
Okay.
and we had just come back from MagFest, which was a convention in Maryland. And he was like, "Hey, this tournament called Apex is happening for Smash. And like we don't need to enter, but we could just go." And Ben had a very rich father. So we asked Ben's dad to get us a hotel. And it was like us shitty high school kids, like 3 seniors in high school,
Yeah.
going to Apex by ourselves. Like he literally just checked us in and left. It was like, "You guys have a blast," right? Now
Yeah.
here's the thing, right? So I still wasn't 100% sold on this Smash community thing. I just was like, "All right, Smash Brothers, whatever. I suck at it." Just like the rest of like me and Jack were both terrible and Ben was amazing and he would just spend time like kicking our shit in. And that was like our Friday night. Like we did
Yeah.
everything together. I shit you not. So we go to Apex, right? And the one person that I had heard of that was at Apex from like, you know, competitive gaming like stories on the internet
Mhm.
was Justin Wong. So I
Jay
ended up
Wong.
watching, yes. So I ended up watching more Street Fighter that weekend than Smash.
Nice.
But by the end of the weekend, right, I watched Justin Wong win Street Fighter, and then I got to see the like very infamous PP winning shit, like winning the whole thing, and like it
That's
was amazing,
wild.
right? Yeah, and I was hooked after that. I wanted to go to everything, and like I
Well,
had such a blast. And then I went to my first tournament, and I guess not a lot of people know this, right? So
uh-huh.
I went into my first tournament, and they were like, "Oh, what are you gonna enter as?" It didn't. I was just like, I don't know what the fuck to enter as. I'm like the only girl here. Just sign me up as girl. So my first tag in Smash Brothers was girl. Like
That's funny.
so cringe looking back, like 10 years ago. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it just kind of like happens like that. Now
Mhm.
the thing is, this is like senior year of high school.
Mhm.
I ended up going away to college pretty far away from home. I would say about like 5 hours. I felt like Ben, Jack, and I like all went our own separate ways. Like,
Yeah.
at least for a little bit. I ended up like dropping out of that school because it was just way too far. Like 5 hours away from home for me, I didn't realize like was so crazy.
Yeah.
So I moved into Manhattan, New York. And Ben was only a train ride away because he was on Long Island at that point. So at that point, I had been in the center of what I thought was East Coast Smash at the time, which was New York City. So I had gotten super involved with Nebulous that was running there. And I still will always say that the true Smash community, the best Smash community I've ever been a part of, was 2016 Melee. That local was really, really special. It usually ran on Saturdays, but myself, Juice Man, and Hope, these three people that kind of like worked for Nebs, like we weren't the main TOs. We ended up like asking the venue if we could start hosting a tournament on Tuesday nights specifically. And that became Nebs After Dark. And it was just another Tuesday night tournament. But then it kind of blew the fuck up. Like
the Tuesday
we
one?
would have like on a Tuesday, 60 to 80 people sometimes on a Tuesday. And you know, everybody was coming after work, but it would, and then we had the college students like home when they were home. It was just crazy. And that tournament was seriously like some of the best times ever. Like I was not a seeder. I was really just kind of a bracket caller. I think for a lot of people, when they think TO, like they're like, oh, I have to see the bracket and blah, blah, blah. There's different like levels of TOing.
Yeah,
I was
definitely.
not I know some people had like some like differences in like how they wanted to seed, but I kind of like let that up to the top players at the time. And I would call the matches, I'd run the bracket, we would leave, and then we walked to St. Mark's Place and got a dollar slice every single Tuesday for like 2-3 years. And it was seriously like some of the best community like I'll ever see and I'll ever be a part of. Like I don't think that feeling can be recreated anywhere else, to be quite honest. It was like such a different time, especially because, you know, Smash 4 was like out at the time. It definitely didn't have like that like strong grip at that point, because I think by the time like we were really kind of like up and running, Bayonetta was kind of killing the game by then.
Oh no.
So like yeah, so it was like Melee is just amazing. Like I had a little bit of time with Smash 4. And then Customs came out, and I was like, this game sucks. Like, I hate this game. I almost made it out of pools at Evo. I was like, oh man, I'm going to make it out of pools at a major. I've done it. I'm the best. Lost to Wario Heavy Bike because he didn't tell me what it did, and I was over it at that point. I was like, I'm going to go play Melee.
Forget that noise. Forget this noise.
Right, exactly. So then Ben actually became top 100 in Melee, too. So, like,
wait, is it that kind of Ben?
No, it's Vortex.
Okay.
No, different Ben that plays.
Okay, I was about to say.
Hold on.
Hold up.
I told my Ben, I told my Ben, I was like, dude, you're crazy. And he was like, that's not me. And I was like, wait, what? So
not what we expected.
So I had my time with Melee and I loved it. And then Ultimate came out. And the only reason why I played Ultimate was because somebody told me that Zelda was better. And I've always been a Zelda main. Like, I played Sheik in Melee, played Zelda in Brawl, and Pit, weirdly enough. I wasn't, like, a real competitive Brawl player because that ship had sailed by the time I was, like, in the community.
Yeah.
But played Zelda, loved her to death. And then I stuck with Ultimate for a little bit. And I shit you not, this is how commentary happened. I was a streamer at this point, like a pretty hardcore streamer. I was, like, streaming every day, like, after college for money because I wanted to go into gaming no matter what as soon as I graduated. So I was running Wi-Fi arenas. Like, that's the best way to get people into your stream. If you want to be a Smash content creator, run the Wi-Fi arenas. So I had a friend who was running Smashadelphia, which was or is a tournament ran out of a convention called Too Many Games. This is 2019 at this point. 2019 or 2020? 2019. So my friend Drex, TO, he's like, hey, I had a caster drop out. I need you to cast. And I said, dude, I have not casted one day in my life. What are you talking about? And he's just like, trust me, it's the same thing as running a Wi-Fi arena. You just talk over it. You're going to be great at it. Trust me. And I was just like, what? So, and then he told me about all the perks. He was like, yeah, you get in for free. We'll pay you. And I'm like, sign me up. I get in for free. Forget it. Like,
hell yeah.
I'll get it for free. Go. And my first block ever was with Flambeau. And I was like, listen, Flambeau, I've never done this a day in my life. So don't worry about it. We're gonna have a good time. You go back in those VODs. Those VODs were awful. Those were terrible. I didn't know anything about commentary back then. And then I got to cast with my good friend Koopa, who obviously I'm still really close with. And I told him, dude, I have never done this before. He goes, don't worry, I'll carry you. And that man did. He absolutely did. And then, I don't know, commentary kind of stuck. And I think it's kind of funny that the one thing that, I tried to help out the Smash community in every single which way I did, right? Content creation, TO, everything, right? And then the only thing that stuck was the one thing that I didn't actually try to do. And it just kind of like came to me. And I was like, all right, I guess I'm doing this now. After Smashadelphia, I got booked for Glitch 7 because Smashadelphia was on VG Bootcamp. And I had a time of my life where I was living in MDVA right at the boom of VG Bootcamp. It was like I would take the megabus from New York City to Maryland, do whatever I needed to do in like MDBA, like go to a Xanadu on a Wednesday or on a Tuesday or on a Saturday, and then I'd take the megabus back up. Like that was kind of it. Like I was between New York and Maryland, but like most of the time I was like hanging out in Maryland on my weekends. So, I got to see VG Bootcamp like go from like 0 to what it is now.
Yeah.
I was at the first glitch. Like the first glitch was held in one singular room because Xanadu used to be a card shop.
Yep.
At Glitch, they have like exhibitions and you can take pictures with like cosplayers and like sets and scenery and all that stuff. The first like Glitch had Apostle on the barbecue, and that was it. That was like the thing. Apostle was like.
I'm gonna say it right now. If you're telling me that the main thing is, hey, our tournament has barbecue.
Yeah. I'm there. And it was good, right? It was like hot dogs and hamburgers. I love to bring it up when I've casted glitches of like, yeah, I was at the first one. It was just Apostle cooking on the Barbie in the back. Like he was just vibing, doing his thing. And like, I was like half doing MDBA, like really involved with MDBA at that point, and then half like in New York City Melee. And it was like a really good like mix of the two once like I was kind of like done with Smash 4 because I had still known all those people. So Tantalus saw me casting Smashadelphia in 2019. He's like, you want to cast Glitch? And once again, I get him for free. So I'm like, yeah, like
and you got barbecue.
Yeah, well, no barbecue at Glitch 7, but
whatever.
This was like way like down the line at that point, right? So like I was like, yeah, sure, I'll do it. And this is right when Vicky Kitty kind of like had left Smash. And Vicky and I consider to be like one of like my best friends. I love her to death. And I was like, all right, I'm just going to follow in the steps of Vicky Kitty. But I say commentary these days looks a lot different than commentary back in the day. There's a lot more people who are just kind of like, I'm going to be a caster no matter what. These are like all the things that I'm going to do. And I'm sure we'll talk about commentary in a little bit.
Sure.
But like, back in my day when I started, I just kind of like, I just showed up. You know what I mean? I wasn't the best caster because I didn't know how to cast, but they saw me casting. They thought I was cool. So they were like, hey, come cast our event. And I was like, all right. Then Glitch was over, right? And then a couple majors had gone by. I didn't apply to anything because it was like, whatever. Like, it wasn't like that much. We didn't have that many majors back then. Then 2020 happened. COVID happened. I took a break from commentary because honestly, I didn't really chase it in 2019. So what was the point of chasing it in 2020? And then, I don't know. It's kind of funny. Like,
went ham.
Pennsylvania lifted event restrictions first. Okay. So the team that I'm a part of, NPT, we were like, yo, all right, restrictions are done. We're running an event. Let's do it. Cross Up came around. Layson was like, yo, you're casting top 8. Wasn't a me decision. I was commentary coordinator, but he was like, I want you on top 8, you and Koopa. And I was like, you got it. Like, sure, let's do it. Then, Cross Up happened, and then Konami Code happened, and then I just kept getting hired. Like, it just really just kind of kept, right, it just kept happening, kept going. I kept applying to things. I just kept getting it. Like, and that's kind of like the Smash side of like everything that's happened. It's like when I tell you that commentary has straight fallen into my lap and I've just taken it as far as it could go, I really truly mean it that way.
It's funny because like There was a Coney video that dropped a long time ago. It was, this is how you get into commentary. And the first thing that it shows up, the first slide is, you would have had to have been there at least 15 years ago when nobody cared about commentary.
I hate to like kind of say it, right? But like commentary these days is a lot more political than what it was back then, right? Like everybody saw kind of the greats go at it, right? Like TKEE, Coney, right? And then you would have like the other people that stepped up like over time, right? Like
Mhm.
Bam and Vicky and all those people, and they really kind of
Charles,
like
all of them.
became
Yeah.
they became staples, right? Has Koopa, like all these people, and they just kind of like they were the ones like no one ever really questioned it, right? So then when new people start showing up, myself, Ajax, Skiff,
Mhm.
Dara, like all of like new players, now everybody kind of wants a piece of the pie, right? Like, oh, I want to be a caster too. So it's very different now. Like I said, it's a lot more political. I think there's a little bit of competitiveness when it comes to casting.
Mhm.
That like who gets blocks, blah blah blah. It can turn very ugly. I have seen the ugly side of casting.
Ugh.
Um, but for me personally, like casting isn't my job. Well, maybe it is right now, to be quite honest. Casting was not my job back then. It was just something that was like really fun to do, and like it allowed me to travel like everywhere. And like I seriously only want what's best for like all of my friends around me. Like
Certainly.
as a caster, especially like understanding like, hey, this is a West Coast event. I'm probably not going to get it because they have casters on that side of the globe.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They would
Certainly.
need to fly me out. Uh,
There's
just
no,
like
there's no way I can convince Jerry to pay for your wave
right.
dash ticket.
Yeah, no, unfortunately. The once again, like I'm so stoked for my friends over on West Coast that will get Wave Dash. The thing is about casting is that like I think a lot of the top casters are pretty turned off to the way that it is now because like obviously they come from like a place of like stature, right? Like they're
Yeah.
like, oh, it wasn't like this back then. And let me tell you,
Certainly.
it definitely wasn't. But now there's like a new age of people that, and this is my problem with casting, right? I think a lot of people want to be a caster, but they don't play the game.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you can't tell me if you cannot tell me why somebody lost this interaction, uh, you can't really be a caster. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like you got to be able to like at least know a little bit of what you're talking about. And I think when a lot of people come to me for commentary coaching and like I kind of like give it to them straight, sometimes people can be turned off by the how straightforward I am, but honesty is the best policy when it comes to like commentary
Yeah.
coaching, especially.
Certainly.
Like I had RJ, leader of Collision, tell me that I sucked like 2 years ago. And you know what? I was really upset by that. Because I was like, damn, like I thought I did a really good job here, blah blah
I
blah.
was like, was that
And then
really me?
yeah, but I went back, I looked at that VOD, and you know what? I did suck. And 2 years later, I worked to improve my craft. Like sought out resources. I asked questions, and now I'm a better caster. And honestly, sometimes it's really as simple as that. Like it's as simple as just like recognizing, you know what? Like no, this wasn't a good block. And instead of just crying about it, I want somebody to hold me to a standard, or I'm going to hold myself to a good standard. And I'm going to improve based off of the fact that I want to be better at this, right? I think
Certainly.
a lot of my motivation to get better at casting was, unfortunately, Twitch chat. I would
Oh
read Twitch
no.
chat, they hated me, and I was
That's the
just like,
worst thing to do. That's the worst
I
thing
was
to
like,
do.
man, like, oh god, I suck. Like, I read Twitch chat. Lyric doesn't know what she's talking about. I hate this girl. Get her off the mic. Like, blah blah blah. And it's like, well, you know what? I'm gonna go get better now because you all said that I can't.
Yeah.
And
We're gonna
honestly,
overlook
now
the misogyny first, but well, that's a whole nother topic.
Yeah, oh, we'll get into that after. I have some interesting views on that I think a lot of people sometimes like don't understand. But personally, for me, like now, whenever I go into, I feel like the golden rule now is like, oh, don't look at YouTube comments, don't look at Twitch chat, blah blah.
Mhm.
But it was actually Emma who I just casted with at Xanadu Homecoming, Jigs Bugs,
Mhm.
and she was reading the Twitch chat, and I was like, oh, girl, like like, you're reading the Twitch chat, don't do that. And then I
Yeah.
did, and everyone's like, oh, lyric commentary, lyric commentary, like the
Yeah.
best. Like, I love when lyrics on the mic, and I'm just like, shit, dude, they really like me. Like, that's like some really good feeling is like when I can go back in the Twitch VOD and think, oh man, I fucking sucked. And then Twitch chat's like, fuck yeah, I love lyric commentary. I'm like, all right, you know what? Like, I guess my standard now is a lot higher than what it was back then.
Certainly, certainly. You know, it's pretty crazy because like you went from like having like I guess like you say you were like this emo kid in high school,
Yeah.
and you kind of it almost felt like I want to say by accident. It
No?
was more. It was like yeah, I guess by accident you really got into what you were into, like between getting to Smash and having the good like just the fortune of having a wealthy friend to get to Apex.
Yeah,
And then
it really
eventually
is.
letting that all happen. It's funny because like the thing that I think of, like I come from a punk background. I come from
Yeah.
DIY background.
Sure,
Like
fuck
out
it.
here, I'm out here in SoCal, which is why part of the reason why I brought up Jerry from Top Shelf. We actually went to high school together.
Oh, I love that.
He was a freshman when I was a senior, so I met him when he was in his scene kid phase.
Oh,
Right.
good
So,
for him.
but a lot of the bands we ended up seeing, you know, there was a lot of crossover. So a lot of the ska punk bands, a lot of the psychobilly bands, the metal bands, right? So I come from having being a part of this with a very dense DIY attitude and outlook on it. Like a lot of the shows I went to, aside from just being basically in dirt backyards that, you know, it's a bunch of underage kids hanging around, probably getting into things they definitely shouldn't have legally as far as we're concerned. But like we didn't have much, so we kind of made do with what we had. Like the thing I bring up all the time was when a band would set up and they need to start setting up or breaking down, it's whoever in the crowd decides to run up and grab an amp and move it out of the way so the next group can come right in, right? So that's where I came from. I'm definitely a little bit older than you because if you know how old Jerry is, you know, he graduated, 2012 or something like that. I graduated in
Not
09.
that much older.
Yeah,
Not
so
that
I
much older
graduated in
than
09.
me.
Yeah. So I'm 32 now. I actually just had my 32nd birthday. And
have you ever heard of the emo kid to Smasher pipeline? Because it's real. You don't know how it's so real.
It's fun.
There's so many people that are like, oh yeah, I was just scene kid, and it's like you're not special, bro.
No, it's not. It's not. It's definitely not the case. But like me coming at like the idea of like what all of Smash is and kind of where it comes from is much later. My story with it is I've kind of only really got into it about 2018, when Ultimate was first announced. Up until then, like
you're early.
Yeah,
you're early.
yeah, like when Ultimate got announced, I was like, hey, this is awesome. Let me get into this. You know, it's a new Smash game. Let me just start playing. I don't know what the hell I was doing. Last time I played a game at that point was probably almost 10 years. Just because like I wasn't really playing video games because I was hanging out in people's backyards or going to a show that technically wasn't a venue because it was an abandoned parking lot that people said, hey, this is closed off. I think we can get away with this for a little bit. And their stage was like 4 pallets. So I come and see this as like almost like a little bit of that methadone of like realizing, oh, there is this sense of almost underground camaraderie with what Smash does and what it brings. And as you look into a little bit into some of the history, you know, the greater FGC is kind of the same way where it comes from like a deep DIY. We don't know what we're doing. We don't know if we have anything special, but we're just going to do it because we want to. And then eventually for certain people, it can be that bridge to create so much more. And a lot of it is almost always by accident. So like for me, what I wanted to do, like I didn't think I was going to be playing. I honestly wasn't even that good. The only reason I ever got into Elite Smash was because Min Min DLC was released.
Yeah.
And that's how I got in. And people are scared of a Bowser forward smash. That's the only reason I'm an elite, and that doesn't really mean anything. So I decided I was thinking to myself, you know what can I do? What can I bring that's different
Right.
to the space? And what I wanted to do at the time was, hey, I have a camera. I want to talk to people. I want to talk to their experiences, and let me just go to local. Smash Ultimate is really popping off. I've seen the Smash Dogs, and I maybe go to a couple Melee events as well. Across the street from where I used to work is where they held Friday Night Turnip, which I don't know if you've heard of it.
I've heard of it. Yep.
Yes, that was across the street from where I used to work, and it was funny because I saw it for years on Friday nights because I would work graveyard, and it was the middle of what was happening, and I'm like, all right, that's cool. Whatever the hell is happening over there, there's a bunch of people always there on Friday nights. It's pretty awesome. No, lo and behold, that was Friday Night Turnip happening. So I was like, let me go to a local. I had my list of questions all lined up. And I'm just like, what's my first one that I want to go to? Oh, okay. Oh, March. You know what? March, that's a good one. And that was March 23rd of 2020. So needless to say, that didn't happen. That was not happening. So now that recently that like all this stuff is kind of more or less past, I think we're at a point where we can say COVID is in its state of emergency is over. We're kind of not really there where it is an enormous issue for all of our livelihoods. So I started kind of like reaching out to people, not really reaching out to people. I decided let me go to a local, and I was just some rando guy with like a GoPro and I'm like asking people like questions. And it was pretty fun that like just people were like willing to say yes to some guy with a GoPro and a mic. I ended up going to this local out in the San Fernando Valley by a group called Dreamcatcher Gaming. They had a tournament series called Brinstar Depths. They actually flew out Icy Mist.
Oh. Okay.
So if you saw that Icy Mist was in SoCal, that was the reason why. So they flew out. So they flew out Icy Mist. They eventually ended up flying out Jackal for Venom. I'm like, oh, this is cool. And kind of from there, people were like, oh, is Strader's going to be coming through with the GoPro after a while? Because I'm talking to whoever I can just to see what they want to say. And I kind of didn't really even want to talk to like who I know in my local scene are the top players, I mean, granted, also Larry Lur doesn't show up to anything. I think his first like real local was last week.
Listen, if you want a local where your top players are showing up, come to Tri-State, man. Let me tell you, Jackal be everywhere in Tri-State. All of our PR in Philly always attends our locals, which is great for player camaraderie. But I know a lot of like the top players, right? Especially now, the like question is, do I go to this tournament and make $140, or do I invest in my content creation career? Which is honestly like, it's a pretty important choice to think about, especially like in this post-COVID era where content can make you that much money. But that's kind of like the top players struggle.
Yeah, is if you're at that level, that's where like kind of your mentality should really be. It's kind of having that mixture of going to my locals and creating content and doing what you need to do. Like someone like Tweak, he can really just go stream twice a week, have Tweak talks, and still go to the locals for the rest of the time unless he has to go out somewhere out there, compared to, out here, some of our top players in SoCal, like, I'm pretty sure a bunch of them, like Peckham, Justice, all of them, like they're not really on the content side. They're more of like, hey, let's hang out, let's chill, let's compete. hey, MSM0 is at a bar or near a bar. Let's go ahead, hit
Yep.
that up afterwards. You know, they're more there for the vibes, which is honestly the best way to put it in my
Right.
opinion. Especially for someone who, you know, my best record has been 1-2, and that was because I got a buy.
Congrats.
So, yeah, that's pretty much where I come from all of this.
Mhm.
And again, it's the idea of like kind of like bringing in this DIY attitude, and like
Mhm.
you have to constantly move and struggle and kind of like work at the thing that you really want to do in order to kind of like
Right.
make a name for yourself. And again,
Right.
you kind of just backed into it and it fell on your lap a little bit, but ultimately like people kept hiring you because they liked what you brought, they liked what you're doing. Enough people want to vouch for you to actually do it. So it's not like all right, it's a convenience factor of bringing Lyric in. It was just it happened. It was a convenience factor at first, it seemed like, but it just kept building and you kept
Yeah.
proving yourself time and time again, which I
You
think
just
is
keep
pretty
showing
cool.
up.
And it
Yeah.
kept
Yeah, I
showing
mean, you
up.
just gotta keep showing up, and, like, I think for commentary a lot of the times, like, um, people are not willing to put in as hard of a work as they think they should.
Oh yeah,
And
certainly.
I think a lot of the times, like, people see like a very quick rise to fame for me for commentary, and they can probably cough it up to either, oh, well, she knew VG boot camp back in the day, or she's a woman and they want diverse broadcasts. Right. So like
Mm,
a lot of the times, like when I feel like somebody's trying to discredit me, I actually get really defensive because not a lot of people know about the tons and tons of unpaid blocks at locals that I did.
mm-hmm.
Nobody knows about the amount of miles that I've put on my car in like the past 2 years to go cast for free. Like a lot of the times people are like, "Oh, well, she just came out of nowhere or she's just a girl." And it's just like, "But I've been here. Like I've
Yeah.
been here and I've been here and I've worked hard." Like 2 a.m. drives home from Xanadu Homecoming, and like uh sometimes I'm too tired to drive. Like it's and like also just like not getting paid. Like I think a lot of people have this misconception that commentary is free money, free bread, like,
Yeah,
and
no.
it's not. And also, commentary money is not guaranteed. Also, big thing. Like some casters are still waiting to be paid out from tournaments in 2022. It is May. Like
Yeah.
it is it's not exactly a glamorous and easy life, and I think a lot of people, they see like, oh, well, I can get on a stream and I can be funny. Let me just be a caster, and then they get on the microphone with me on
And
like a Friday night,
no
and they're like, holy
personality,
shit.
bad
They're like, that was
chemistry.
actually really hard. Like, and I'm like, dude, like, yeah, I know. Or they're like, oh, she's just a caster. Like, let me just pick it up and do it. And it's like, you can
Mhm.
absolutely just pick it up and do it. It's a lot harder than what people think it is.
Yeah, like there's no be like there's what you said is super true for a lot of different parts of the community that isn't being a top player. They believe that there's this kind of like, oh, you are you are in production, you are a caster, you are a TO. Oh,
Right.
you're part of the smash bourgeoisie that has all of the money and just hops in their Lamborghini and dips out
Yeah.
when they're done.
Right.
That's not what that is.
Mm-mm.
There's the infinite struggle. I bet people don't realize that a person will go into deep debt because
Okay.
they decided to just to go take, you know, I need to take 2 weeks to prep for this tournament, and there's no guarantee they're gonna get the full payout of everything because they didn't have enough people enter their tournament.
So
I know a while back you posted how
I was just about to
much
bring this
I
up.
was about to you
$4,000.
posted, yeah, that was a crazy amount that you put yourself into for the scene,
Yeah.
essentially.
So
Because if I were you, I wouldn't have done that on my own. I would
yeah.
have gotten something out of it.
So here's kind of the breakdown of it, right? Because a lot of people don't believe me when I say that number because it's like there's just no way. But it's actually very easy to rack up that much amount of debt.
Yeah.
Starting with hotels. I love every production group that I've ever worked with. I truly have. But some production groups don't view me as a commentator that is worthy enough to provide housing for. Or I'm asking for too much with the housing. So it's either do I get paid $50 a block or do I like if I ask for too much, I don't get the gig. So what do I value more? Do I value the gig or do I value getting paid for it? Now, I also had a very well-paying job at that point, and like some things I definitely could have handled better, but I will tell you that I paid for my own hotel room for every glitch and every pound. So that was $350. I was only walking out of most VG bootcamp majors with $350. So I would break even on those. Double Down, I had wanted Double Down because I was at the first Royal Flush on Atlantic City. So I was like, okay, I want to now cast. And originally my motivation behind casting was I'm going to cast all of my favorite tournaments that I attended as an attendee. So I went to Royal Flush. So I wanted to catch the spiritual successor. I wanted to cast that really bad. It's in Las Vegas, right? So I had talked to commentary coordinator. I was like, I really want this. Like, and I was so desperate enough to be like, you know what? Just get me on there. I will work for $50 a block. I don't care. I just want to be on there. I will pay for everything else. And that's when production people, that's when their eyes light up. Oh shit, I don't have to pay you. I don't have to fly you anywhere. I don't have to get you your own hotel. Fuck yeah. You're on. And I ate $600 flight, $600 hotel just for one event. Rise and grind. $300 flight. And then $150 parking for the weekend because I decided to park at the airport like an idiot. And then $900 hotel room. Like, when you do that many events, it stacks up, and people don't realize like how quickly that can stack up, especially when you're breaking even on most events and also going negative. I went in the negative for Double Down about $1,200. Like, but was it worth it? I had one of the best blocks of my life with TK that really like had a lot of people like, all right, Lyric's a good caster. Was it worth it? Yes. Financially, absolutely not. Did I have to grind my ass off to, you know, bring me back up to a stable financial spot? Yeah. But I have to say, though, like, for casters, at least, Panda did one thing, like, really right, and that was pay their casters for all of the Wi-Fi events that they did. Bamboo battles on Mondays, like, sure, everybody has their thing with Wi-Fi tournaments, whether they love them or not, right? But that was a caster's, like, dream event to do. Every Monday, going from phase 2 of bracket to the end could be 4 or 5 hours, $150. Like, oh my god. And that happened every week, and there was a rotation for it every week. Like, Panda took care of their casters. As can't really speak to anything else, obviously, because I wasn't there, but they took care of me. And like, they definitely helped me dig out of that hole because of how much I was casting Wi-Fi for them. But like I said, like, $4K, $4,000, like, just to make it where I am now. And Smash World Tour and Panda Cup are both gone. So it's like, now what?
You know, I actually want to ask about like a little bit about the Wi-Fi era. Like, where were you? What were you doing community wise? Was there anything that you were actually doing community wise? Because for me, I followed everything live up until, you know, there was no longer live events. I think the last in-person event was CEO Dreamland. I want to say that was like the last in-person event that we all had. And like, it wasn't until like mid 2021, I want to say, our first real thing back. It was, I think Ned ended up getting third place. I forgot what the name of that tournament was.
Am
I
I
want.
terrible with tournaments and
I'm trying to
placements?
remember, but like the first like real thing like that everyone's like, okay, I think we're okay to go to. I want to say it was like Riptide, right? It was either
That was, like, the
Riptide.
first big one, and I think it was
Yeah.
Cross Up, then Riptide, then Glitch Konami Code. I think
Hmm.
that was, like, the couple that was, like, the 3 tournaments, at least, like, East Side that kind of happened that
Hmm.
gave everybody the green light. Honestly, during, like, hardcore COVID era, I was just Wi-Fi arenas, like, I wasn't really, like, into, like, casting at that point, but Panda had decided to keep their bamboo battles going, like, past COVID,
Hmm.
and I had reached out to one of my friends on Panda at the time, Tish, and I was like, "Yo, um, I see that you're doing these bamboo battles things. Like, you mind throwing me in the rotation?" And honestly, a lot of the times with casting, especially at your local or a Wi-Fi tournament, the hardest part is just saying, "Hey, can I have a shot? Like, can I just get on the microphone? Can I just do it?"
Hmm.
And I guarantee you, the worst thing they can tell you is, "Nah, man, sorry." But that's it. You've at least put your name out there. And
Yep.
like every single time I've eaten no 100 times in my casting career. I think a lot of people they'll say, "Oh, you've done everything." I've eaten no for so much. My dream tournaments, Genesis and SmashCon, both ate a no for that. Like
Hmm.
I've eaten no's for West Coast majors. I applied for major upset. I've applied for tons of tournaments that I didn't get. Like, but if you're not putting yourself out there, you're not going to get it anyway. Like,
Yeah.
at least do yourself a favor. But I think the Wi-Fi era kind of came to like a halting stop once Panda like kind of just obviously Hungrybox does a great thing by hosting his coin boxes. I haven't casted on it yet.
Hmm.
Um but like that is like the only Wi-Fi tournament that I think is like a really good opportunity for casters, because I think I don't know if it's Skiff or Last who's in charge of like casting or
Hmm.
like bringing on casters for that, but like any visibility, especially on Hungrybox screen, is a
Yep.
great visibility. And I know that they try to highlight casters that have not like gotten like big mainstream blocks. So like I've heard a lot of European casters on Coinbox, etc. So I think personally like the Wi-Fi era when I was casting it, a little bit more on the decline than what it was like back in
Mm.
like hardcore quarantine era.
Okay. So you weren't really running into like Juicebox at the time. At the time, it was Juicebox. Eventually, to end up
I
becoming Coinbox or anything. It was just
To be quite
more.
honest, I did like during quarantine era of Smash. Like I hated entering a Wi-Fi bracket. Like waiting hours to play sucked. Like I was like, oh man, guys, like I would stream it, right? Because like I was a streamer at the time and I was like, all right, we entered this Wi-Fi tournament. But like, oh my god, I was waiting hours and then I'd lose one too. And it's just like, this sucks. Like, so I did heavily pick back up my League of Legends addiction over quarantine. My fault. But the moment that, we were done with quarantine era Smash, I was back. But for me, it
and
wasn't really involved on that side.
and it felt like full force too, because I'm assuming like a lot of people, you kind of came to the purview more of like the broader national scene during like 2021, during that time frame. I think the
Yes.
first time I heard and then like saw what you looked like on commentary, you were wearing this like floral
Oh, here we go.
shirt that was kind of like red and
Oh, like
dark.
for a kimono?
I
That's
think
the iconic. That's
I
the
think that's what it
iconic
was.
lyric.
And my first thought was like, she looks like the cool spooky bruja aunt.
Stop it. Did I have bright red hair at that point?
Yes, you still had your bright red hair at that time frame, and I think that's what it was. As like
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
and
I was a firecracker.
maybe that was the reason why the fact when you said emo kid, I was also not surprised at all.
Listen, I grew up like so my father not a lot of people know this about me, but my father did actually roadie for the Rolling Stones,
Oh,
like the
shipmates.
Rolling Stones. Yeah. So that's why I grew up on like classic rock, and then it kind of like turned into like me just being into, an emo kid. But I think when you're young, right? Like I love my mother bless her soul. Mother's Day's coming up. She's the best. I can't wait to go see her. I can't wait to drive 2.5 hours to go see her, right? My mom was like, you are definitely, I was like, let me dye my hair black. Let me dye my hair different colors, like blah, blah, blah. Like it's Tumblr era. You know what I mean? Like I wanted to tease my hair sideways. My mom was like, oh, hell no. So like when I moved out and it was quarantine, I was like, wait, hold on. I can do it. And I did it. I bleached my whole head red. And that's like when I came back. And then, my hair started to react pretty poorly to constantly bleaching it and constantly dyeing it red. So I decided like last year around SmashCon to just kind of like take it to tone back and then keep the color in my bangs. But I think like every emo kid who is told no to dyeing their hair, the moment that they get their first ounce of freedom, it's like, I'm doing it. I'm doing it. And like I did it, and I love that era. And to be quite honest, when my hair grows all the way back like to where it was before I cut it, I'm totally gonna go back at least for a little bit. It's not gonna be any other color than red, but I felt like hot shit when I got up on that microphone and I had that headset on, and like I was like redhead, like it was so invigorating. Like I felt so good. Like my bright ass red hair, I would always get it touched up right before a major too. So every hotel I was in, I had to make sure I did not stain the bathtub because I was always afraid of an incidental charge. But like for now, like the black and red, this is like orange right now because I haven't casted anything in a little bit. For now, this is cool, but like the moment that it grows back, we're going like back bright red, like firecracker.
Back to prime lyric.
Absolutely.
That's awesome. Another thing I kind of wanted to ask about, like, so you kind of like brought up, before the kind of the unfortunate circumstance of what happened in your parallel life, what was happening parallel to your life from like your entrance into the Smash community up until kind of right now? And like, what do you kind of see, or what do you plan on letting your parallel life be? Because I'm sure like Smash is there and it's going to be there for a while, and if the moment someone says, hey, we need lyric on commentary, and let's swoop her up, that I'm pretty sure those opportunities aren't going away anytime soon. But like, what was your parallel life along that throughout your Smash journey, and kind of where has it been? What is it now? And what do you have any plans for what you want it to be going forward?
Good question. So to kind of talk about, so there's Lyric and then there's Emily, right? To be quite honest, sometimes they're very two different people. Sometimes I am not feeling 100% when I'm like at an event, but the moment that I put on that headset, I have to be somebody else. That I think Junebug said it at Apex, that he said this to me and Koopa behind the projector. And I'll never forget this. Commentators use all of their extroverted energy on that microphone, and that could be not more true than me. So I guess to like go across like the 9 years, I found Smash in the beginning of 2014, like I had said. At the end of 2014, my parents had decided to get divorced, and it was kind of a very big blow because my parents, like, I never really thought that was going to be me. Like, my dad was always a little bit distant, but like my dad traveled for work. He had like a really like important job with a lot of responsibilities. He was definitely the breadwinner of our family. Like I got it, right? And my parents divorcing definitely kind of like threw the first wrench in. And it's also part of the reason why I decided to move home, because I kind of like felt like life was spinning out of control and I was so far away. So I started to dig my head a little bit more into Smash, because Smash was kind of like my comfort at that point. I didn't have to think about that while I was at a tournament, while I was playing, while I was TOing, right? Like I felt like the world was kind of crumbling around me. And the only thing I really had was my GameCube controller and my friends. So throughout that time of me being at college, like my parents got divorced. I had to move out of like my, nice raised ranch 2-3 story home. I decided to be with my mom because my dad had moved to
Hmm.
Florida. So me and my mom had to move into an apartment, and my mom wasn't making as much money as my dad. So my mom and I moved into a basement of a house together. My room was the size of an office cubicle. Um, and like I said, I hated being home. I didn't want to be home because it was just a reminder all the time of like how much I had lost. And I grew up in a really nice spot of privilege. Like, I'll be the first to tell you, like, money problems weren't like real for my family. Like, I was
Hmm.
very, very fortunate to never have to worry about like, where my food is coming from, where like, if I can afford to like go on school trips, etc. Like, I'm very, very blessed. And
Can
then
I
all of
pay
a
for
sudden we're
prom? Types of things like that.
right.
Yeah.
And like I was shot into like what was it felt terrible, lower middle class, where my mom was really only the one like making bread, and the only way that like I was able to not think about it was to just be at tournaments. So I went to tournaments all the time to kind of like hide my pain. Now, to be quite honest, that was a terrible idea looking back at it. I should have definitely gone and got professional help. But that, for me, it was like, oh, what's gonna make me feel better? Smash Brothers. Smash Brothers. Like, Smash Brothers is this amazing thing. I don't have to like be myself. I don't have to be Emily. So I kind of like shut Emily down for a long time, and I didn't really take care of my mental health. And I was just lyric all the time. I was just always happy, and like I was always just like I always was at an event. I was always helping somebody, and like still like all throughout college I kind of just like neglected my mental health and was just Emily or just lyric all the time. And like it came to a point like I would say, especially when commentary started and like all the hate comes in, right? It went from like, oh, I really like being lyric, where I get to be in an event all the time, where people hate lyric or they want her off the microphone. Nobody's happy to see lyric. And that was like that was
Hmm.
a shock to me, because then I didn't know what to be at that point, because I couldn't be happy on the microphone because people hated me. And then it was like, oh God, then I have to go travel back into myself of Emily. And Emily hasn't been taken care of for now what would be like 9 years of me
Many
just
years.
just constantly pushing her down, of saying like, okay, we need to hold out, like, don't come out, don't like it was kind of like suppressing my mental health, like at that point. Like, if I was constantly at an event, I never thought about how I felt. And it was only until, I would say like a year or two ago, like during the grind, the commentary grind, that like I guess the Emily side of me is like, dude, we can't do this that much. Like, you're tired. Like, I'm tired. And like, it came to a point where I really didn't like going to events because it was just too much. Like, I didn't want to go to a local every single day of the week. It was just, I was so burnt out. And some argue that I still kind of am burnt out. Uh, but I think like throughout the years, Emily has been suppressed. And it was only until maybe a couple months ago, I would say, maybe even like a little further than that, maybe like 9, 10 months ago, that I was like, oh shit, maybe I should like take care of myself a little bit better. Maybe I should like start like looking into other things, because I love Smash. Smash for me, like you said, it's never going to go anywhere. If I get hired for a major, I'll be there. Like, I want to continue to cast Super Smash Brothers Ultimate. I think I will always be able to cast Super Smash Brothers Ultimate, but I think sometimes like Emily comes out and is like, "Yo, we're tired. We're tired of all the traveling. We're tired of like the Twitter is a lot sometimes. Twitter
Yeah.
is can be very mean. The A lot of the times I don't post what I get, but when I do, everyone's like, "Oh my God, that's horrible." And it's like, I get it after every major block. I always say my DMs are open for constructive criticism after every major block, because I genuinely want to improve. And that, invites some really shitty people in. And that really sucks. But I think like I started going to therapy, like hardcore therapy. I've gotten diagnosed for a lot of my issues. Like, I'm taking medication to like better myself. And Emily
Hmm.
is starting to get taken care of. But Lyric now is kind of dealing with the, oh my God, every event, I'm so tired. Like, okay, like going to Albany last weekend was the most exhausting thing on the planet. Waking up at 5:30, driving to Momo's house to drive another 4 hours, and then driving back. It's like, dude, I'm tired. Like,
Yeah.
it
And
Which is why.
from what
Go
I've
ahead, go
seen,
ahead.
it seems like you're the only one who can. I don't know what the hell that's about. You got to start setting up a carpool situation or something.
Yeah. Oh God. Well, I have been one of the only drivers for a long time. Like a lot of the times, like it was me driving because I was the one that was like, all right, events are back. I get to go. I get to grind commentary. Blah blah blah. Like it's time. It's good. We're chilling. But then like everybody would jump in my carpool and like then disrespect my car, like leave shit in my back seat. And I was like, I'm so sick of this. Like I'm not driving anybody anymore.
Yeah.
But the gas money was great. Once again, had a job, so I didn't really even need to worry about that. Hey, it's my cat who decided to jump up on me.
Hi, kitty.
That's Mochi. Mochi, go down. Talking about something serious. Such a jerk. So I guess like Smash has always been there for me, and I love it, and I will never regret being a part of this community. But, and the community can always count on me to go cast a major. But it is like prime reinventing myself time. I have potential, like I have so much potential right now to go and do something else. And that's kind of Pokemon. Like I fucking love Pokemon TCG. I have been consuming Pokemon TCG content. And honestly, as terrible as it is that VG Bootcamp and Panda Cup and Smash World Tour have like all kind of gone underground and like not happening as much and like commentary opportunities aren't as much. It's given me a lot of time to get comfortable with exploring something else that I'm really passionate about. And like, you know, I watch a lot of TCG broadcasts. I watch a lot of TCG content, and where Emily and Lyric both want to go is there. And I have to say, like, part of the reason why I love it so much is because the local that I go to, I am not the oldest person in the room. Being the oldest person in the room at 26 at a local is kind of jarring. Like, I feel like, so according to a lot of people in my life, I have mom tendencies. It happens, okay? Like, I get very anxious while being around a lot of, like, our local players because they're all loud and they start screaming and then they don't know how to, like, take care of themselves at a major, like, someone always loses their wallet and it's like, oh my God, like, oh, you poor thing, like, I can't do it. And, like, there's so much stress that comes with being the adult in the room because it's like, I now feel responsible. Now, granted, no one has ever told me that I'm responsible for them. It's just a personal feeling.
It just happens to be. It ended up happening.
I have mom tendencies. That's just how it is. But it's like going to a Pokemon local where, oh, it's 9:30. It's late. I gotta get home. Like, I have work the next day. I'm like, yeah, it is late. How old are you? Oh, I'm 36. I'm like, oh, thank God. Thank God somebody else is old around here.
Finally.
I go from being the oldest in the room in Smash Brothers to being one of the youngest. Like, and it's such a welcome change. And like, once again, I love Smash. I really do. Smash, though, is not really happening right now. So who's to say that I can't go and try something new? Now, a lot of the casters have told me to go apply for commentary and X platform fighter because all the Smash casters do it. I love all of my friends in Smash casting. I do not want to be anybody else other than me. I want to cast what I want to cast. And I know a lot of people are like, oh, well, you know, you'd fit really well in X game. And it's just like, I can't cast a game if I'm not passionate about it. That's just kind of like how it is. Like, if I don't like the game, I'm not going to give it the love that it deserves. And that's why I'm trying to learn Pokemon TCG casting as fast as possible because I would love to jump into that. Like,
that'd be pretty cool.
It would be. And like, I've already met a couple of the casters, you know, like talking to them on Twitter of like, oh, how do I get involved more? Like, and, you know, some of them even knew me from Smash, like have watched me cast Smash.
That's awesome.
And did before I was in TCG. So it's definitely, my heart will always be in Smash. I know Vicky always says this, that Smash is always home. I feel the complete same way. Smash is always home. It will always be. Yeah. But I don't want to be stuck in Smash forever because it's the one thing that I just know some casters, like, they're stuck in Smash forever, and I know they don't want to be. And I know, for me at least, like, Pokemon is something that I'm passionate about. It only just makes sense that, like, that's my next jump, and that's where I'm going next. I will make it as a TCG caster. Like, I have no doubt. If I throw my work ethic into Pokemon, I'll make it quick.
That's right.
Yeah. So that's kind of like what's next. But like I said, Smash is home. It helped me through it has helped me through every hard time in my life. Parents divorcing, my grandmother passing away, multiple breakups, like all of my friends in Smash are really like awesome, awesome people. And I will never forget this time in my life where I've gone to travel around the world in my fucking early 20s, just playing video games all the time. And like my mom still doesn't have any fucking idea what the hell I do. And she doesn't believe that it's real. But you know, it's just the fact that like there's so much more out there right now. And
Certainly.
I want to go see it before Smash is just and then I have nothing to show for it.
Yeah. Well, I will say though, if for some reason you ever make your way down to SoCal, I'm gonna give a shout out to POW Gaming. They have a TCG. Huh?
Yes.
Yeah. They have the TCG.
Fro's, right?
Yep. Shout out to Fro. Shout out to Fro for letting me know about POW. They have a TCG local on Sundays. I want to say it was a place called Cycle Turtle Collectibles. That's where it's at. Yep. So if you find yourself in SoCal, stop by, talk to Troy, see if he'll let you cast or something. They also do VCG if you're down for VCG.
And I just say, I tried to watch VGC last weekend because a Smasher, fun fact, named Mezzy, aka Zone, literally got top 3. And like there are tons of Smashers that play VGC and not a ton of them that actually play TCG. But like I was trying to watch VGC, just not my jam. I love holding the cards. I feel like VGC is like I hate coin flips. So like I'm not going to VGC any single time soon. But cool game, right? Loved Scarlet Violet. Not my vibe. Not my vibe at all.
Oh man, Lyric, I think this is super awesome. Like, I love your story. I love how like almost by accident it became something probably way more than you thought it was going to be. And it's so cool to kind of hear that like that happened for you. I'm really happy for your story. It just proves, some people they could just be at the right place in the right time and it just consumes you in the best possible way. I know you have a hard out in about 20 minutes or so. I want to call it here right now, but the way I call it is it kind of started with the very first one that I did with Oates from Major. So shout outs to you, Oates. Give me 10 questions. Doesn't have to be about anything. Can be Smash, can be not. And I will do the same to you. It could be whatever it is you want, whatever it is you want to ask. Just go for it. If let me see. Let me do a coin flip. Let me look up the good old fashioned coin flip of Google. Flip a coin. And let me clear all that out. All right. So, what do you want? Heads or tails?
I always take heads in TCG, so I'm taking heads.
All right. Ooh, off with your head, tails. All right.
Just like in TCG. Wait, flip, but okay.
All right, go ahead. Ask 10 questions. Whatever it is. Okay. Almost nothing is off limits. And I'll tell you if it is. Chances are it isn't, though.
Who's your favorite Smash caster?
See, here's the thing. I need to tell you. You can't.
It's not me.
You can't. No, listen. No, I'm telling you that you have to set the caveat. You can't choose EE, TK, or Coney. You can't.
Oh, you can choose them.
No, to me, you're not allowed to. All right, you're not allowed to because they are just like number one echelon folks.
Okay, sure.
Because
so if that's a parameter you're putting,
I'm putting it there because that's the way I feel. Okay. They are blunt. Let's get them out of here. I'm a cheat and say my favorite local caster
Okay.
is probably, honestly, probably Fro.
Yeah, Fro's lit.
He's
Love
awesome.
Fro.
He's a good guy.
Love Fro.
On the larger scale, probably the reason why you ended up being my favorite caster was the energy you had for Let's Make Big Moves with the
Here we go.
with the hero.
I know exactly what you
and you're like, thwack him. I was like, yeah.
That was a perfect storm clip. That was
yeah.
I have to give Devin from House of 3000 so much credit, by the way. Like, when I cast, I am an audio nightmare because I'm loud and I'm shrill. And any other broadcast producer, maybe outside of a select few, my mic would have peaked. Something would have been off about the clip, and then the audio would have been my fault 100%. And Devin knows exactly how to mix me every single time, where my yells aren't terrible, right? I get really excited. I'm sorry. Like, this game is so funky and funny, like, especially with like Steve and Kazuya all there, like, whatever, like. And I'm so glad Devin actually like just mixed that clip perfectly where Koopa is like singing "There Goes My Hero" and like me, I'm like thwack him. Like,
I think that was awesome. I think that was the moment that made me think, okay, I think Lyric's probably my favorite caster because of that. Again, it doesn't help. Like I said, the first time I saw it, I was like the spooky bruja aunt. That I like that. I like the cut of your jib.
So 9 left, right?
Yes.
If you had to pick a DLC character to be added, one last one, who would it be?
King from Tekken.
Good for you. Hell yeah.
I think we need
it's a good choice.
I think we need King from Tekken. That'd be awesome. That'd be awesome. King from Tekken.
Okay. Favorite Nintendo game that's not Super Smash Brothers?
I think I'm gonna go with because it's between Mario Kart 64 and Diddy Kong 64, and I think I'm gonna go.
But Diddy Kong 64 had better. Diddy Kong Racing had better music.
Yes, and I think I'm gonna go. Diddy. I'm gonna go with Diddy Kong Racing. I'm gonna go with Diddy Kong Racing.
Okay, 4.
Yes.
Oh, well, who's your favorite punk group?
Oh my god. You definitely have not heard of them because they were from the LA scene. And by LA scene, I mean specifically where I grew up in the San Fernando Valley. There were this band called Blasphemy Squad. They were like the first punk band that I was like, oh, this is definitely what it's about. Because it was a group of 4 Latino kids, screaming about racial injustice, screaming about Western imperialism, and other weird just just very sketchy, aggressive music. And it was pretty awesome. So I would say probably Blasphemy Squad if I want to cheat and go local. And probably my favorite overall punk band, Jeebus. That one's going to be harder. Because I definitely can't say who it was back in the day because the singer's definitely super canceled. But I'm going to just leave it at that. I would say on the larger scale punk bands, it's somewhere between either 7 Seconds and Black Flag.
Okay. Lit.
That's what I would say. That's what I would say. Oh, if you want to know why I love Blasphemy Squad so much, if you look them up, Blasphemy Squad, and the song is called Clones.
Okay.
You'll be like, oh, this is very, very different, and not, and I think that would definitely be up in your vibes.
Okay.
All right.
Noted.
All right.
Go to order drink at a bar.
I don't drink.
Go to order at your favorite restaurant.
Probably Dr. Pepper or Sprite.
Food order then.
All right. God, it really depends what kind of restaurant you're talking about. I need you to set some
What's
more
your favorite
parameters.
restaurant then?
Oh God, it's funny because it's actually a taco place that's
Hell yeah.
probably about an hour and a half south of where I'm at. It's a place called Angeles Tacos. It is probably the best Mexican food you can get off of the side of the road in front of a post office. It is. They used to have a place, a shop separate set up close to me, but they don't really show up as often as they used to. Yeah, Angeles Tacos, the burritos are huge. They're held together by hopes and dreams, not even by tortilla and foil. You can cut it in half and have it for 2 days.
Oh shit.
You can have that for 2 meals, and it's only $10 with cheese. They have a potato that's basically a loaded baked potato with cheese, the 3 different salsas, and your choice of meat. And I'm gonna tell you right now, it's made to share.
Okay, good to know. Good to know. Oh. Okay. Favorite fighting game that's not Super Smash Brothers, but I could probably guess it's Tekken since you said King.
You know what? Of all of my favorite fighting games outside of Smash, it's actually really hard between Tekken and Dragon Ball Fighters. It's between Tekken and Dragon Ball Fighters. I think it because I was a kid when Dragon Ball Z first like dropped on Toonami. Right.
Hell yeah. Good time.
Toonami. And also, like, I saw that shit growing up before it really even made its way onto Toonami. I had no idea what was going on. I was like, hey, who's this kid who looks like Gohan? And why does he look so much bigger and older? Where's like, what's that pink thing? They were doing their like 15th rerun in Mexico by the time like it was really starting in the US. So that's probably the reason why I like Dragon Ball FighterZ, just the deep connection to the game. And Tekken is just so fucking cool. It's so fucking cool.
It's lit. How many questions am I at? Like 7?
You have 3 questions left. So I think that's 7.
What's one fun fact that no one knows about you?
I'm trying to think. Oh, this is when I like telling people. I helped paint a mural with Slash of Guns N' Roses.
Okay, that's lit.
And I helped paint a mural with Slash of Guns N' Roses. I was actually just hanging out at the park, being a degenerate like I always was, hanging out with all the other skaters and punks. And a friend of mine was rolling through and it's like, hey, what are you doing here? Like, being a degenerate. And he goes, yeah, that sounds about right. We're here because they're painting here. It's like, yeah, I noticed that when they showed up. And we're talking to like the main artist guy who's set everything up. And so, we see this blue Trailblazer park and some dude's walking, poofy haired like mine. And he's just wearing a hat. And I'm like, And he's talking to the artist, some girl who we knew. She goes, "Oh my God, you're him!" That was the exact quote.
Crazy.
And he goes, "Yeah, I am me." And they're like, "Oh, let me get a picture," and blah blah blah. And he's like, and I asked him about L.A. Wasted Youth. And it's like, hey man, how do you know Wasted Youth? And he tells me, oh yeah, one of the guitarist from one of my bands, he was in it, and I really liked the LA punk scene at the time when I was doing music. So like, yeah, because I saw him wear a shirt like from like the 80s where he's wearing Wasted Youth. Like, what the hell is he doing wearing a punk band shirt? But whatever.
Right.
And so the artist goes and he says, hey, did you want to do some painting? And he points to me, says, well, only if you'll join me. I'm like, yeah, let's go. And we talked about metal and punk for a long time while we were painting. It was pretty cool.
That's crazy. What a story. That's so cool.
Yeah.
All right, hard one.
Okay.
Do you think Smash is dead or dying? Do you think Smash is dying?
No, it's just it's on this down slope before it goes back up. That's all it is. That's
Okay,
not even that
final
hard for me.
question. Where do you see Smash then in 2 years?
Mm, I think in 2 years we will find out who is the next. I wouldn't say VGBC or
Okay.
BTS,
No, I get what you're
but
saying.
something along those lines. We'll find
Okay.
out who that next crew is, and I'm willing to put money and say that it is Top Shelf.
Yeah. I agree.
I'm willing to put the money on and say Top Shelf is definitely that next group to kind of carve out their niche within Smash, not just in Melee, but in Ultimate as well.
Mhm.
Because that's where they got their start in Melee.
Right.
Right now their biggest, most watched, consistent stream that I've seen has been MSM Zero.
Right.
They also have Rage Against the CRT, which it doesn't get as many views, but whatever. That's not the point, at least to me.
Right.
They are consistently putting their name there, and
Right.
their name is getting out there a little bit more and more, and their reputation is building ever so slightly, little by little. So I think in 2 years we'll see Top Shelf really come truly into its own. They will be, I wouldn't say the rivals to anyone, but very the next standard for what Smash is going to start pushing forward.
Okay. I think that's 10, right?
That is 10. That is 10. Okay. Let me see. What do I got? Okay. What's been your favorite
Oh, your
card
questions are so
series?
much deeper than mine.
What's been your favorite What's been your favorite card series that you've been, or pack series that you've been pulling from Pokemon TCG?
Okay. My best hits
Mm-hmm.
are from Scarlet Violet because the pull rates are better.
Mm-hmm.
Because they're insane. My favorite TCG set is Team Up from Sun and Moon because I
Okay.
want the Latios and Latias card, which I'll never get. But that is like my favorite one where like all the full arts, all the tag team cards are all just like super lit. So yeah, Team
Nice.
Up.
All right. Super quick. How'd you end up at Lyric?
Okay. Okay. So, okay, my Xbox gamer tag. Not a lot of people know this, and it's gonna be held above me. Okay, ready? It with the X's and all. It was Epic Cupcakes. Okay, it was that
Yay.
time. It was that time,
Oh
right?
yeah. Everything was
to
epic.
a local. Right, I went to a local, and some guy was like, "Does Epic Cupcakes mean your boobs? Because those are epic." And I was just like, "I need to change this right now." I'm so serious. I'm so serious. I'm so serious. So serious. I know. I know, bro. So I was on the train home and I had said to the person I was with, I was like, listen, man, I got to change my tag. He was like, why? And he was like, it's funny. I'm like, no, we're not going for funny anymore. Um, so then I changed it to Lyric of Wisdom because I was in the middle of my annual Wind Waker replay. And Zelda's part of the Triforce. Wind Waker is my favorite Zelda game. Zelda's part of the Triforce is wisdom, and you learn the Earth God's lyric. So, Lyric of Wisdom is a Zelda reference. Deep lore, deep lore.
Jesus, that's deep
Yeah.
lore. Oh
Deep lore.
God, no, I'm not gonna say thank God to that guy because fuck that guy.
Yeah, fuck that guy. He was weird. Smashers.
All right. What was the first band or artist that you like say, hey, this is me, this is my band, this is my music?
Okay. It was the summer of 2009.
Yeah,
Okay?
right.
My brother had just gotten his driver's license.
Was it the
And
Denver?
My
Denver
parents,
Prada?
no, my parents let us go to a show,
Nice.
a concert by ourselves in Jones Beach, New York.
Okay.
And the concert was Alkaline Trio, MCR, and Blink 182. And the moment that I heard MCR for the first time, I was like, this is amazing. This is amazing. I love it. Oh my God. Obviously, other bands came along that I like a little bit more than MCR. I'm a little bit more of a Linkin Park person. I think Linkin Park was like my, oh shit. Meteora and Hybrid Theory, like two of the best albums ever. Don't make me choose in between them. They're lit. Love them. Linkin Park was definitely like what I found right after MCR. And I think that was like my gateway.
Nice. All right. Ooh. What's one food dish you wish you had extreme proficiency in making?
It's gonna sound so white. I really want to be able to make really good rice. Like I can make really good chicken, right? Like I can make chicken on like chicken thighs on bone skin. Like I know how to season food. I cannot make rice for the life of me. Like I put it in the rice cooker, it's still not working. So I want to make more rice because I love rice. And like I want to eat chicken and rice and lamb and rice all the time because obviously I lived in New York for so long and the halal carts are like a staple of who I am. I love good halal food. It's like my thing. But I can make the protein, I cannot make the rice. So rice.
You can't make the old school way, 2 cups liquid to 1 part dry.
Come on, man. I definitely failed science in high school.
You let it boil. You let it boil and set a timer for 19 minutes. I say 19. It's supposed to be 20.
Why 19?
It's supposed to be 20. I say 19 so you can kind of like take a glance. You move it, move the spoon. That's my fiance in the chat saying 20 minutes. So yes, I'm what I know.
20 minutes.
Yeah, but I'm just saying so you can kind of see how much liquid is in there so you can put it in your last minute. All right.
Okay.
If that's what you would want to do. If you want to spice it up a little bit, there's a type of I forgot what it's called, but it's like a Filipino rice where you melt butter, probably about like 3 to 4 cloves of crushed up garlic, season it with black pepper, and then you throw in the rice. So that's set the timer for 20 minutes. After it boils, put it down to its lowest setting, covered, and you should be fine. Don't use the rice cooker. Don't use the rice cooker.
No more rice cookers. Got it.
You heat it up, and then there. All right, cool.
Got it.
All right. If you had the ability to choose who you would cast top 8 with at any major, super major.
Sure.
Who would it be, knowing that both of your audio will never be fixed for the entirety of top 8?
It's always going to be Nerf. Nerf is my static. I love that guy to the end of time. I want Nerf to like fly and succeed like on his own, absolutely, but like us as a pair, when we sat down and casted for the first time together, it was magic. So Nerf until the end of time. Period. Like obviously I would love to work with like TK, Cody, EE, Hazmat, Vicky, Koopa, Bam, Rod, Max. Obviously, like the casters on another level than me. I would always love to like work up, but I always find that I do my best casting with somebody that I've worked with before, somebody that I'm also like close friends with, because then the friendship comes out on the mic. And I've always said that the best Smash casting is 2 friends on a mic, like doing their thing. And I've never had that feeling better than with Nerf. So Nerf, period.
Right. Bad audio and all.
Yep, always, all the way through. We'd be laughing the entire time.
All right. I'm gonna repeat a question from one of my previous 10 questions, because I want to know, what tournament would you want to go to around the world that is probably one of the worst places to go to a tournament to globally? Like, I'm talking, there's a high chance we're all going to get murdered. But the tournament, though, is going to be flames.
Can I ask what the previous answer was to something like that?
I think the two areas that were said were North Korea and Somalia.
Okay, so I kind of like K-pop. So like North Korea. So you started the question with what tournament around the world would you like to go to? And I'm like, yes, Kagaribi, like in Japan. Like I get to go back to Japan. It's lit. Like I was in Japan for a couple months. And then you were like, that will probably die at. And I'm like, huh.
Not die at. I said it'd be a terrible place to be at.
Yeah, North Korea, probably. That's probably a very scary place to be. I don't know how I would even like live and breathe there. Let's go with North Korea. That's
all right. We're gonna go with North Korea on that one.
We're gonna go with North Korea.
We're going North Korea. Okay. If you had the ability to, and you would always make top 8 competing, would you use? I mean, you were guaranteed top 8 to compete in Melee for this.
Oh, in Melee.
In Melee. In Melee, you would guarantee top 8 every single time. The technology has been put together for this to happen.
Cool.
And the only way you do this is if a pair of modified Joy-Cons that only work if you're holding them separately. Would you take that opportunity?
I have to be like the little Mac kid who like plays like this, right?
He's like, yeah. Yes, but it works for Melee, and you will always guarantee get top 8.
At like Super Majors?
Guaranteed.
Do I ever win? Do I ever win the tournament?
It's guaranteed top 8. Anything after that is up to you, but you will always guarantee get top 8.
Yeah, I would do it because like that's really funny. I would totally do that.
It's Pro GameCube controller. Take it to the next level. Pro Joy-Con.
Yeah. Whatever. Yeah, fuck it. I'll do it. I'll make the payout. That's fine.
You'll never win the tournament. You always get top 8. But hey, and the most impressive part is it's the Joy-Con. All right.
Sure.
All right. You are in charge of mashing up 2 themes for an event.
Oh, I've already done this in my head.
Okay.
For a tournament?
It's a tournament, but it also has to have something else involved in it, whether it be comedy, music, whatever.
Oh, this is easy. I'm going to take
what are your 2
Pilgrim
themes?
versus the World.
Okay.
That is the theme of the tournament. And then I would have Anamanaguchi play at said tournament because Pete and Luke both like Smash. And if I had the money, I would 100% do it. And that would be our next cross-up. That it would be Scott Pilgrim theme with Anamanaguchi playing a concert at the end of the tournament.
Not like what happened at CEO, obviously, but...
I think that was DreamHack.
Oh, DreamHack. My bad. DreamHack.
Yeah, that's so funny because I think like the lead singer of Scene Queen like posted a video of herself and you can see Axe in the background like playing. Good crossover.
How
many questions do we have?
I got 3 questions left. Only got 3 questions left. How'd that happen?
Keep going.
Okay. All right. What movie or piece of media that you can watch over and over and over again has annoyed people in your life?
I'm only laughing because it's relevant to like who I am now. SpongeBob and the word drink, because the moment someone says drink, it's like my drink, my diet Dr. Kelp.
My diet Dr. Kelp.
I say it all the time. It's like, oh, can you pass me my drink? And it's like, my drink? My diet doctor, like I say it like on cue every single time. Specifically the Diet Dr. Cup one. That's like my vibe.
Oh, I love that. That's good stuff. Okay. I got 2 left. What has been your favorite interaction with someone that recognized you, either outside of a tournament setting, at a tournament, wherever?
Okay. I don't tell this story a lot because I have like a hard time like sharing things on social media because I'm always afraid of getting misconstrued. And 9 times out of 10, I always do. Because I can never get my point across correctly of how I see it. So I've stopped sharing my opinion. So it was a couple months ago, and I was at, where was I? I was at Collision. I was at Collision. That's what it was. And it was really late. The bar downstairs was about to close. I was waiting for a couple of people to get there, but I was by myself. And someone, I get very sentimental at these tournaments. Once again, like I've gone through a lot in my life. So like I've literally had to like, sometimes I like sit at hotel bars and I get really sad and I drink. Because, putting life into perspective, I'm glad I'm here. I'm glad I'm at said event. Might as well, right?
Yeah.
I don't know who. Someone came up to me and they're like, "You're Lyric, right?" And a lot of the times I get really anxious when something like that happens, right? Because it's like, "Oh, you're Lyric. I know you from Twitter." And then my first words are always, "I'm so sorry." Like that is just, "I'm so sorry."
Immediately
like,
apologize.
So right. That's I always apologize because you never know, right? So I was like, "Oh, hi, yeah, what's up?" And they were just like, "I really just want to tell you that like I really am so happy that you're casting." And I was like, "Oh man, like thank you so much." And like just like straight up out of the blue was just like, "You're one of my favorite casters. And I just really hope you have a good day." And like walked away after that. And I think it was because it felt really genuine.
Yeah.
Somebody just coming up to me just like while I'm by myself telling me that they liked my casting and that was it. It wasn't like anything like too crazy. And I always try to like carry a conversation with people like, "Oh, do you play melee? Do you play ultimate? Like what time you pull?" But like, dude, like had to go after that. So literally just came up to me like, and it didn't feel like a fish for attention. Because I could tweet about like how much hate I get, but then I feel like it's a fish for attention. So I try not to because, I don't want people to think that I'm just constantly fishing for attention. So when it's like authentic like that, it really just like truly means the world to me. So that. And if you from Collision were the one that did that, you let me know.
Shout outs to you, person.
Yeah.
Shout outs to you, whoever you were. All right. Okay. Final question.
Make it good.
What is one irrational fear that you have that you think you can get over if you were put in that situation, only to think this is going to make everything worse? So like you'll have all your other irrational fears, like you're pretty confident if you got put into it, like in immersion therapy, you can get over it. But which one of those irrational fears you get put into immersion therapy and you think that's the one that's going to break you?
Bees. I'm so afraid of bees. I'm afraid of every flying insect ever. And if like truly though, I'm not really afraid of a lot of things. Bees are like it. I don't know if the amount of like, if you put me next to a beehive, I'm running, right? If you put me in a closed space with a beehive, I'll probably just like die. Like
heart failure right there and then.
Yeah, truly. So the only true fear that I have, bees.
Bees.
So, bees. I can't.
that
I've
Wicker
lied
Man.
100 times about me being allergic to bees. They're like, "Where's your EpiPen?" I'm like, "Didn't bring it. Sorry."
Sorry.
But I just hate bees. So,
Oh my god, there
bees.
that Wicker Man
Yeah.
scene. Oh, endless nightmare.
Oh god. Like Hunger Games when the tracker jackers got that
Yep.
girl. Oh man, I
Yep.
had to look away.
Oh my
Bees.
god. Bees. Oh god, it had to be bees. The bee movie was horrifying, I bet.
Okay, no, the bee movie's fine. Any like death by bees, we're done. I'm out. Like, we're good. No, thank you.
Oh my god. Lyric, thank you so much. I
Thank you.
loved this. I loved hearing your story.
Thank
I
you.
love hearing, you know, everything on the side that probably most people don't know about. I wish you the best of luck with the Pokemon
Thank you.
TCG. It's probably going to be a great thing. I saw the stream where you stacked it all the way up to like I think almost your mic. That was
We're gonna
awesome.
do it again.
We're gonna
do
do
it again.
I need to do the same. I got a bunch of Yu-Gi-Oh cards I need to open too. So
Hell yeah.
this was awesome. I know most people already here who have seen this at one point or another. They follow you, they know you where you are at. But are there any shout outs that you want to give? Anything that you want to say? Where they want to follow you? What do you got for us?
Shout outs to you. Thank you so much for having me and for us prepping this like 3 months ago. This was awesome.
It was a while.
Yeah, it was a while, but it was great. Shout outs to my family. Always, they're always going to be the first people I shout out. Shout outs to Pennsylvania Smash. Love all of them. Shout outs to MPT. Shout outs to Layson. Shout outs to my D&D group, which is waiting for me right now.
Oh, I got D&D tomorrow too.
Hell yeah. Shout outs to all of my TCG friends. Shout outs to everybody who continues to support me. I hate the word fan. You are not a fan of Lyric. You're just somebody that supports me. Fan is very demeaning. I hate that word. And yeah, that's it. Thank you so much for having me. This was a blast.
It was awesome. I'm gonna let you go. You go ahead. You enjoy yourself. Say bye.
See you later. Bye.
Bye. And that was it. We had a chance to talk to Lyric. That was super awesome. I'm glad we had this opportunity to do that. We're gonna have opportunities for in the future to have some more. We have at least one more guest lined up in the near future. We're not going to be doing another one of these probably until probably another 2 months. We are definitely going to try to see if we can go to an actual major. If you already know, you've seen what's going on. The next major out here in SoCal is going to be Wave Dash, so go to that. If you happen to be watching this right now in this moment, go to Knockout on Twitter, Knockout VG, I believe, is their @ and sign up for their net play tournament. That's going to be awesome. Do that. Why wouldn't you? That's a good idea. You can win money. It's a good thing to do. Thank you everybody for being here. This has been awesome. I'm gonna let you go, and I'm gonna have my time. But thank you everybody. Thank you for being here.